Girl, Kevin, I don't know how to do this sponsor thing. I'm thankful that I have sponsors, but how do I you know what I should do? I should do that thing where podcasts are like, this episode is brought to you by Coolis, a Korean-inspired hair care brand that I've been trying out. And living in the desert, my hair is always dry and frizzy. It's just kind of the way it is living out here in Las Vegas. But the formula has these fermented botanicals that help with rehydrating your hair and getting that frizz under control instead of just masking it. So I haven't even been using it that long, but I feel that my ends are smoother and my hair just overall feels a lot softer. So if you want to give your hair a little bit of love, click the link in the description for a discount. Does that sound good? Should I try that? Oh, listen to that purr. Oh, that's a good purr. That'll put you in a good mood. This cat sleeps on me every night. On me. Sometimes on my head. But she doesn't cuddle up next to me. She has to like physically be on top of me. You know what? At first it really bothered me because then I couldn't move because I had an animal on me while I was sleeping, and she was heavy, and it was super annoying. But then I got used to it, and now like I can't. I have a hard time sleeping when she's not there. She's like a weighted blanket now. She's like a purring weighted blanket that allows me to inhale so much cat hair while I'm sleeping, just so much. And I really thank her for that. Thank you for all the cat fur that goes into my mouth and nostrils while I'm sleeping, really. And my eyes too. Really appreciate that. Really like waking up in the morning and the first thing I have to do is just run my finger across my eyeball trying to get all the cat hair out. Love that. Welcome to episode 96. The last episode was very emotional, and thank you for allowing me to do that. But this week we are back to silly fun times, and I have the best story. It's so awesome. Okay, so I'm sure you're familiar with The Lord of the Rings. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is Concerning Hobbits by Howard Shore.
That's real concerned hobbits. That's what that is.
Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time. I need complete silence, please.
Oh my God.
Okay, so these are my favorite movies, right? These are like my all-time favorite movies. I am so much more a Lord of the Rings girl than I am a Star Wars girl, and that is saying something because your girl loves Star Wars. They're my absolute favorite. When I first watched them with my dad, we both loved them so much that we immediately got them on DVD as soon as we could. The extended editions, mind you, we waited until the extended editions were coming out because at the time we did not have like a lot of money to just spend on frivolous things, and we wanted them on DVD, but we had heard that an extended edition was coming. So we waited and we waited, and we finally bought all three of them when they came out. And we used to not have a big TV. We had a very small TV. And our solution was to push up the couch as close to the TV as we could so that it felt like that we had a big screen TV. I have vivid memories of this. Like my dad and I just being like 3 feet away from our tiny TV, just like, whoa, look at the definition. It's amazing. It's like we're back in the theater. And we had so much fun watching those movies. And of course, the first time you watch them, it blows you away. And the second time you watch them, it blows you away. And then the third time, you just start cracking jokes the whole time. And you're just making fun of everything. And then you have all these, and me and my dad all had all these inside jokes about watching these movies. But they're so incredibly phenomenal. And when I first met Shawn, my lovely husband, Shawn, who I love so much, and he and I have so much in common. You know, it was totally one of those, like, we're the same person. Like, when you meet somebody, you're like, oh my God, we're totally the same. I couldn't believe how much we had in common. And just, we had our thoughts and feelings aligned in so many areas that when I first met him, this was what, 12 years ago? Does that sound right? Thanks, girl, Kevin. 12-ish years ago, I had learned on one of our early dates that this man had never seen Lord of the Rings. And this blew my mind. This was unacceptable to me. I couldn't fathom it. I didn't process. I think my brain just short-circuited for like 5 minutes after he said that. I'm like, what? So, being the nerd freak that I am, what do? I say, okay, we're going to have a Lord of the Rings night. We're going to watch all the movies, and we're going to watch the extended editions. That's right. Your girl decided to start off a Lord of the Rings noob with the extended editions. Also, mind you, somebody not super into fantasy, not super into superhero movies. It's not really his thing. I was very engrossed in nerd culture at the time. That's when I was working for video games. I was reporting on video games. My whole world and life was video games at that time. And he was not. Right? He was working on television and in Hollywood, and he liked games, and we had a lot of things in common when it came to like nerdy things that we liked, but it was not him, right? He was not such a nerd as the people who are around me all the time, which I think was actually probably really refreshing. I think that's one of the reasons that I enjoyed hanging out with him, because he was so different than all the geeks I was around 24/7. Not 24/7. I didn't have all these geeks around me while I was sleeping. That's not what I meant. Although I guess if you count the internet, yeah, 24/7. But anyway, I thought surely this man will love Lord of the Rings. Obviously, like this is gonna go great, and then I can share my deep, passionate love of Lord of the Rings with this new man that I'm totally falling in love with, and he's super cute, and this is gonna be great. So I go to his house, and I'm like, settle in. Here we go. We got 3.5 hours worth of movie to watch, and he's like. Pardon? It's going to be amazing. Trust me, this is going to change your life. So we sit down. Oh, also didn't mention he has severe ADHD. Not one to sit for long periods of time and do one thing. It's just, especially not one that he's terribly interested in. But me, opposite of ADHD. I do not have ADHD. I know that sometimes I act a little scatterbrained and I talk about many different topics and I take little tangents. But I'm telling you, I do not have ADHD. I do not fit the criteria or the mold. I can focus on kind of whatever I want at any time. Like I can sit down, I can read a book, I can write a book, I'm fine with that. So I did not really know this about him at the time. Again, this was very early on in dating. So we settle in. We're living in Hollywood at the time. It's like a Friday night, and I'm like, we're watching Lord of the Rings. Motherfucker, buckle up. Here we go. And, it's not that he wasn't enjoying it and that he wasn't trying to pay attention, but pretty early on in the movie, I could tell that he's a little distracted. He's like, there's a lot of really long names in this. I'm like, yeah, keep up. That's Isildur. That's Elrond. Those are the rings given to the kings of men, and that's Galadriel, and she's doing the voiceover, and you're gonna meet her later, and she does this really scary thing, and it's nuts. But anyway, like let's keep up. And that was already losing him pretty quick. And I'd say 30 to 40 minutes in, which in the extended edition, we're still in the Shire at that point. Like barely anything has happened 30 minutes in to the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring extended edition. And his phone's blowing up, and I can tell he's trying to be really respectful of me and like not answer his calls and texts while he's watching this movie that he knows means a lot to me. But it's Friday night in Hollywood. All his friends are like, come out, let's party, come over to our apartment. Like, we have beers and pizza. Like, let's play again. Just let's go to bar hopping. That's all. We just did crazy stuff when we lived in Hollywood, and there was just constantly fun outings happening, just all the time. We were doing crazy stuff. One time, just for fun, we went to Man's Chinese Theater and hopped on a tourist bus and just took it to the beach. Just for fun. Just like one of those hop on, hop off buses. We didn't hop off. We just stayed on the bus the whole time. And then we got to the beach and realized that was the end of the line, and it wasn't going back, and we got stranded at the beach in Santa Monica. Just one of those crazy nights. So we didn't really think it through. We were young and living in LA and, mostly broke, but, just always having the best time. So I was like, do you want to not watch this movie right now? And he's like, I kind of don't want to watch this movie right now. And I'm like, first of all, thank you for being honest with me, because the last thing I want to do is torture somebody with my favorite movie and force them to sit and watch something that they don't like. So it's just kind of been a running joke, like, through the years of, Lisa's favorite movies are Lord of the Rings and Shawn's least favorite movies are Lord of the Rings. And we are a family split down the middle. And everybody always ridicules me when they're like, you started them off with the extended editions? Are you insane? I'm like, I know where I went wrong. Let me be free of this, okay? Chill. But let me tell you, he and I don't get each other Christmas presents because it's too stressful, and we're totally fine with that. We get each other presents throughout the year. We just don't like the birthday present, Christmas present thing. But let me tell you, for the first time in many years, he got me a Christmas present. And immediately I was like, we don't do this. We don't get each other presents because now you're going to make me feel bad that I didn't give you one. And he's like, no. He's like, it's fine. He's like, this doesn't have to be a Christmas present. I'm just giving it to you now because it's going to happen in January. And I'm like, what? And he's like, for the first time, all 3 Lord of the Rings extended editions are coming to theaters. And I was like, and he's like, not only did I buy you and me movie tickets to all 3, I bought 2 more tickets, so 4 total for all 3 days, so that we can invite 2 more people. And I'm like, but you're coming? I was so excited about the idea of watching all these in the theater, but also like, but you hate these. My love, this is 11 hours and 36 minutes of fantasy movie. That you weren't terribly interested in the first time that we watched it. Are you sure? This is quite a time commitment. And he is like, I'm sure, I'm ready. And I was like, well, here we go. So that's what I did 3 days in a row. I spent so much time at the movie theater, it felt like I lived there. So we go to the first day. We go to the Fellowship. And by the way, no previews. They can't torture us with previews. They're like, this movie's long enough. The first one's 3.5 hours. And we sit down in the movie theater, and it's one of those really comfy ones with the loungy chairs, and you can like order drinks. And we had a couple margaritas, and we were like feeling good. And the movie starts, but it's not the movie. It's Peter Jackson. He's talking to the camera. I did not know this, but Peter Jackson recorded an intro for all 3 movies. It was basically him thanking everyone for coming back to the theater to watch this movie that is quite old at this point. And then him just kind of going into great detail, not great detail, but like some detailed stories, right? So he had a couple behind the scenes stories, and even stories that like I had never heard. And I thought I knew everything about these films because when I love something, I have to just wring it out until every last drop. I know everything about it. So he's like telling these stories about like for Fellowship, he was talking about how everyone thought this movie was going to fail, and the media just tore them apart and was like, this movie is going to be bad. No one's going to watch it. This is going to be a disaster. And like that was just something they had to all live with as they were filming all 3 movies all at the same time over the course of many, 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 many months. Have fun showing up to work every day, knowing the whole world is hoping that you fail. It's actually very poetic, and I love that. I actually love when people doubt me, and I love when I'm pitching something to a room who is not quite convinced. It's one of my favorite things. I really like pitching. Like back when I was like pitching screenplays and ideas, I love being in a room of people who are just like, so tell me why this dumb idea is not dumb. And I'll be like, all right, here we go. I just love that. And so, yeah, it wasn't until they edited together, like I want to say like a little 30-minute version of the movie that went to Cannes Film Festival, Cannes or Sundance. I can't remember. But then people saw it and they were like, oh, this actually might be dope. And then people started to turn the corner and be like, yeah. So, yeah, before every movie in the theater, Peter Jackson did like, I want to say it was like a 10-minute introduction. He was joking the whole time, like on each one. He was like, okay, I gotta keep this short because I don't, you're already going to be sitting in this chair for many, many hours. So I should shut up. But the funny thing is that I was sitting in a theater full of Lord of the Rings nerds next to somebody who has never seen the movies. Shawn doesn't know anything about these movies. He doesn't know how it ends. He didn't know who Samwise Gamgee was. Like, he just so those are hobbits? Dude, that's how out of the loop he is. He had no idea. And let me tell you, this was the funnest thing. This is the funnest thing. I got to sit next to him as he witnessed it all for the first time, and I got to vicariously watch them all for the first time through him. It was awesome. In fact, there's a couple times in Peter Jackson's intros for the 3 movies that I had to cover his ears because Peter Jackson was giving away spoilers, because Peter Jackson would never imagine that somebody would be watching these movies for the first time here in the theater watching the extended editions. Like, you have to be a real super fan to go see these movies. So, I mean, it makes sense why he would say spoilers, but in the third, like before the Return of the King, he was literally talking about the ending, and I was like, Shawn, plug your ears. Like, you can't, he's telling you how it ends, and you don't know, and it's lovely and beautiful that you don't know, so please. So, and I don't know if those Peter Jackson intros are going to be on YouTube. Do we know this? I would love for you guys to see them. I don't know if it's a special thing that like only the people who went to the theater to see them got to experience. But man, I hope they make it to YouTube because I would love to go back and watch them again. Yeah, great stories. Now I don't know, because originally, before all of this, I would have thought I could talk about Lord of the Rings as much as I wanted, but now I'm like, there's people who haven't seen it. I was living with one. But the very emotional scene at the end of Return of the King, Peter Jackson was saying that he was using like a different DP that day, and it was very difficult to focus. Like, the camera had a lot of depth and they had to focus from here to there to here to there. It was a very difficult camera move, and I guess it got into editing, and the hobbits they were there, and Peter Jackson shows up, and they're like, you have to see this scene. Like, it turned out so emotional and so amazing. And they're just like over the moon about, this is the greatest scene ever. And then Peter Jackson watches it and he goes, well, cool, we have to reshoot the whole thing. It's all out of focus. Not a single shot is in focus. And they're all like, they thought it was a joke. They're all like, really? And he's like, yeah, really. And they were all just like devastated for a moment. But then Elijah Wood was like, well, let's do it again. Like, let's do it. That would be me. I'd be like, let's go do it again. So they had to reshoot the whole thing. And thankfully, they were able to give another very emotional performance just as good as the first time when they had to reshoot it. But I thought that was so interesting. And Shawn didn't get to hear that because it's going to spoil the ending. But let me tell you some really fun things that I got to experience again, watching them vicariously through him. He had all the questions that we all had at the beginning. And it's been so long since I've even thought about these questions that I'm just like having the time of my life, right? So, after it's Fellowship, right, where Gandalf is, he goes to his old friend Saruman. And he thinks they're still besties, even though, like, we all know that nobody talks that creepy who's a good guy, right? Like, the second Saruman shows up, we're like, you're a bad guy. You just look like a bad guy. Your nose is all like, you got like a bad guy nose. The nose always gives it away. He gets, in that fight with Gandalf, and then he throws Gandalf in timeout at the top of the tower and in Isengard. And then Gandalf escapes by catching a moth and having a moth conversation and then letting the moth go. And then who shows up to get him? Eagle! Ah! So the eagle shows up at that point, and Shawn's like, they got eagles? Like, they got eagles. And what do you think he said? He said, okay, so why couldn't the eagles just take Frodo and the ring straight to the big scary volcano? And I'm like, first of all, it's called Mount Doom, okay? Let's use the real terminology here. Let's show a little fucking respect. He's like, why couldn't the eagles take Frodo and the ring all the way to Mount Doom? And I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from. However, I don't want to spoil it, but we're going to find out very soon that the Nazgul have some kind of flying dinosaurs. I just said I was going to use the terminology, and I'm sure that there's a term for the flying dinosaurs, but I can't remember what it is right now because I got a lot going on in my life. And some of this knowledge is buried so deeply in the files of my brain that I can't exactly bring it to the front right now. But they're flying dinosaurs. And I'm like, look, the Nazgul, they got these flying dinosaurs. So yeah, okay, everybody's like, oh, and the Eagles could just take them all the way to Mount Doom. Wrong. The dinosaurs would just absolutely their shit up. The dinosaurs would just rip these Eagles' throats out. It wouldn't even be a contest. Clearly, that's a terribly stupid plan. It would never work. I can't even believe you would think that or say that. And then we get to the end of Return of the King, and the Eagles show up, and they're fighting the Goth dinosaurs. And they're doing a pretty good job. And I'm like, forgot about that. Okay, well, okay, so maybe, whatever. How about just it would just ruin the story, okay? So just shut up about it. Shut up about the Eagles. So yeah, I didn't have an answer for that. But anyway, I got to do the fun thing in Two Towers when Aragorn kicks the helmet. We all did, actually. Shawn's sitting in the middle. It's his brother on his right side. Josh is over there. My best friend from high school, JD, is on my left. And as soon as Aragorn kicks the helmet, we all lean over and we go, did you know Viggo Mortensen broke his toe when he kicked the helmet, and so the scream is real? And Shawn's just like, what is wrong with you people? Because if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you gotta say that. You gotta point that out. Yeah, and they're movies that I'm sure you do this too. You've either seen them so many times or they're just so long that you very rarely sit and watch them without, they're usually, you put them on in the background or you like start to watch it and then you get distracted and you're just in your kitchen making hamburger helper, just quoting it, fly you fools, fool of a took. You're just quoting along with the movie and you're not really taking it in. So that was another cool thing that I was forced to put my phone away, to be in a dark room and shut the hell up and watch the movies. And they're just so beautiful. And this is true escapism. Is that the word I'm looking for? I really feel these movies are like the first ones that like taught me to disassociate. I've said that about something else. I can't remember what I said that else about. What else I said that about? But anyway, these are like true cinema. I don't feel like we're ever going to get movies like this again because there are a handful of practical effects that would never be done practically now because we have such amazing AI and CGI. And also, I'd say even at the time, like most of these actors were complete unknowns. You just don't get that anymore. Like you have to have these big name actors to carry your movie to make sure that audiences come to see them. Very rarely do you sit and watch a movie where you're like, I don't really know any of these people. I didn't know any of them. And they all do such a phenomenal job. But I got to tell you, I didn't like Rivendell when Frodo goes to the balcony to look out at the beautiful waterfalls and the railing is at his waist. And he's a hobbit because he's 3.5 feet tall and elves are like 12 feet tall. Dude, elves are like LeBron James, okay? Like elves are super tall. Why would these railings in Rivendell come up to you? You should be taller because the elves are taller. And that bothered me. It still bothers me. Why would the elves be building railings that go to their shins? It doesn't make any sense. But it was such a fun experience getting to introduce the movies to him. And let me tell you, we converted him. We have another fan who has joined the ranks and he's like, I'm in it. I get it. I paid attention. I mostly knew who everyone was with all their crazy names. And there was a lot of like backstory that he's still a little fuzzy on. I'm like, that's okay. We're going to have you read all the books next. And the Silmarillion and the old cartoons. And we're going to watch the Hobbit movies again if we really have to. And we're definitely never going to watch Rings of Power because they suck. Those episodes suck. They're bad. I'm not going to hear anything. I'm not going to argue with you on this. You can leave your comments. You can love it. It's fine. I hated it so much. I hated it so much. And I only got like 3 episodes in. I'm like, this ain't my Lord of the Rings. But whatever, good for them. They tried. Anyway, that was just a super fun thing that I got to experience. And I think that they, depending on when this episode comes out, are they still in theaters? Are they doing more? I don't know, but I highly encourage you to go back and watch them in a capacity that forces you to put down your phone and watch it and just enjoy it. There's just so much heart and dudes crying. Everybody's crying and it's beautiful. And it's like manly. Somehow it's so like manly and people are feeling their feelings and they're hugging and they're telling each other how they feel. And they're, just, the quote of when Gandalf is talking to Frodo about, all you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you. That is so beautiful. And we should all be living by that every day. Every day we should be waking up and telling ourselves that all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. And I think the world would be a better place if we all took Gandalf's advice. Anyway, this has been episode 96, and I like Lord of the Rings, and I'm just realizing right now that I haven't done one of those trivia episodes in a while. That'd be really fun to do a trivia episode on each Lord of the Rings movie. Because there's so many fun facts and behind-the-scenes nuggets that I know off the top of my head, but then I could probably even learn more. This is a great idea! Okay, I'll put that on the plan for the future. Anyway, love you guys so much! Bye! Also, how about the part at the beginning of Lord of the Rings when Galadriel's like, and then the ring was found by the most unlikely of creatures, a hobbit. Yeah, the same mother creature that found it last time. It's the same one. It's not that unlikely. It's happened 2 times.